different kinds of database system, that is levels of data and process distribution, and accordingly four different kinds we saw based on whether there's a database is present at one place or in multiple places, and likewise the data is getting processed at one place or multiple places. So that is what was learned in the previous class. And we also learned some advantages, the components, different kinds of distributed database systems, characteristics. Then, yeah. So these were the things that we learned in the previous class. Here, in today's class, we will learn few terminologies again. One is, first few minutes, I will discuss this with a schematic representation. After that, I'll tell you regarding certain terminology, certain kind of, not exactly architecture, the way the data is distributed or the way that the data, how do you actually fetch the data from different places based on the data, whether the data is present in one place or multiple places, whether the data is, processing happens in one place or multiple places. Based on that, how do you write a query? Okay. So once we start with this, we can actually do the laboratory part also easily. Okay, so the first one is single site processing, single site data. Now this is more or less, or you can say that it is like a centralized database system. And what did I say about centralized database system? I said that in a centralized database system, I asked you to imagine a star topology in your networks. Networks you've already learned, you've learned it already. In networks, what do you see in star topology? You have a central node, which has all the, it acts as a central, a master, and it is, and all the other nodes are connected to it. So any data that has to pass from A to B has to pass through the central node, the master node. So same way, even here, when you talk about a centralized database system, you have one single node where all the data is present, where all the processing also happens. So same way, the single site, this is a distributed database system, but in a distributed database system, you have all the nodes or all the workstations connected together under a network, and there will be one node or one workstation where all the data would be present, and even the processing also happens something there itself. Now say, for example, I have the university the entire data is present in one headquarters. And from the Bangalore campus, I want to know all the students who are graduating in 2022. So I give a query saying that select star from student where graduating year equals 2022. So this is a kind of processing it has to do. What is the processing here? Fetch the data from a student table. To apply a row filtering, the condition is where graduating year is 2022. So this is a processing that is happening. And where does it happen? In a place where all these data are present. So which means that single site processing, single site data. This is what is happening in a this kind of one variation of distributed data system. It's a kind of repetition of whatever we had learned, but nevertheless, you're supposed to know this. So here you can see the schematic representation. You have three workstations. They are also called dumb terminals. Yeah, I missed saying that term. They are called dumb terminals. Dumb terminals because they are not going to interact, or I'm sorry, they're not going to do any kind of processing. All they do is a UI. I query something. I require some data, so I type it in my UI. So accordingly, the query is executed and get back the data. I will get the data in my terminal. So this particular terminals, the T1, T2, and T3 absolutely has no processing, overhead or no processing complexity here, except for the fact that it has to ask for a data and it will get the data. Where is it getting from? How is it getting? That is none of its business. All they do is they just ask and get the data. Therefore, they are called dumb terminals, and dumb terminals comes into picture only if you have single site processing, single site data. Single site means one site. Processing happens at one place. Data is stored also at one place. Then coming to multi-site processing and single site data. Data is present in one place and the processing happens at multiple places. At this point, I want you to recall an example where we saw that report is generated by one person, and let us say that I remember giving you the example of Amrita School and Amrita College. There is Amrita Vidyalayam School and Amrita Engineering College. And I said that all the data regarding the Amrita Vidyalayam teachers are also present at Amrita College account department. So in case a person from Amrita Vidyalayam, the principal wants to know how much salary is drawn by one teacher called some, let us say, some XYZ. So she queries there. So what happens is she is the dump terminal there now. Okay. And she asks the data from Amrita College regarding the salary. So that is passed and you get that data. This is okay. This I can quote it as a single site processing and single site data. The same way, let us say that the data is present here. Okay, consider three sites now. One is Ettimadai campus, one is Ettimadai campus, one is Bangalore campus, one is Amrita Vidyalayam. Okay, so in Bangalore campus, we have all the teachers' details. And in Ettimadai camp, and we also have, I said 3 campuses, right? Amrita Bangalore, Amrita Vidyalayam, Amrita Engineering College, Bangalore, and we have Ettimadai campus. Let us assume this example that Amrita Vidyalayam teachers data is required. Some report has to be generated. Reports are generated only at the Bangalore site. And what report is required now? I want to know her salary details. From where will I get it? We will get it from the Ettimadai campus. We'll take this scenario. So this is an example of a multi-site processing. Why? Because the Vidyalayam teacher principal is asking for a data. So this question is passed to all the nodes that is present. Where is the data present? The data is present in Ettimadai. So Ettimadai people will process that data. Want to get the salary details of the teacher XYZ. Where does it pass? It is passed to the site which is going to process the report. Why report? Because the Vidyalayam has asked for report. Who generates the report? The Bangalore Campus Engineering College. So a report is generated and that report is given to a Amrita Vidyalayam. So here you can see that the data is present in Ettimadai campus. The processing is happening in Bangalore campus as well as in Ettimadai campus. And finally, the report is given to the Amrita Vidyalayam. So which means that Amrita Vidyalayam becomes the dump terminal. Okay. So this is an example for a multiple site processing, single site data. Now you can see that whenever you have a multiple site processing, single site data, because I told you that the very first thing that we spoke about distributed database is that you have multiple workstations, and all these multiple workstations are connected to each other through the network. So whenever you have a network, then definitely you cannot rule out the possibility of having a network traffic. Why are we talking about traffic? You're talking about traffic because there is a lot of data that is getting passed across the network. When I'm asking for a data, the data has to come from Ettimadai. It has to come from the Bangalore campus. So, and all these 3 campuses are connected together through a network. So, which means that there is so much of flow of data in the network. So here what happens is, whenever you have such multiple site processing and single site data, there is always an overhead of network traffic. So you cannot rule out the possibility of network traffic. And one more thing that I wanted to explicitly speak in this particular point is that, see, when I say whenever we have to select a data, let us say I'm now the same example which I said, I want to know the salary details of only one particular teacher. So what happens is the processing is such that wherever the processing is happening, the extraction, let us say that extraction data is present in Ettimadai campus, whereas the processing is happening in Bangalore campus. If that is the example, what happens is when I write a query, select star or select salary from employee where teacher name equals XYZ. So here, this particular entire query is not going to process in a data center. Understand this. I repeat what I said. We have Ettimadai campus. with all the data present. There is, Bangalore campus where the processing is happening. And there is Vidyalayam, which is just extracting the data. So Vidyalayam principal wants data of one particular T XYZ, the salary details. So when the data and the query is asked, the data will go to multiple sites. From where is the data getting fetched? From Ittimadai campus. Who is processing it? Ittimadai cannot process. It only stores the data. So where is the processing happening? It's happening in the Bangalore campus. What is the process? What is the processing? I'm supposed to extract the salary details of XYZ. But I need to have a source, isn't it? So from where will I get the source? I have to get it from the Ittimadai campus. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that Bangalore campus will just not get one single row containing the details of XYZ teacher. Instead, I will get all the staff's data in the Bangalore campus. If I have 1,000 staffs data in Ittimadai campus, all the 1,000 will come to Bangalore campus. And in Bangalore campus, since the processing is happening there, that is where the query gets processed. Select staff from staff where teacher name equals XYZ. That's exactly where it's in the Bangalore campus that this processing happens. And after that, the data is given back to Amrita Vidyalaya. So here, when I say processing, understand that the processing workstation will only get the entire table. They will not be getting any kind of processed data. Only the source tables will be given to the processing site, and they process the data and they'll give back the data to the site wherever it is required. I mean, wherever it is requested. Yeah. Multiple site processing, single site data is also called a client server architecture. And this is similar to the example. I mean, this more or less the same example that we had seen in the earlier class where we had quoted this example. You have a single data unit, that is all data is present at one site. All these are terminals. I do not call them a dumb terminals. I do not call them a dumb terminals because all these terminals, or maybe few of these terminals, are involved in processing. Probably one may be a dumb terminal or maybe two. I will not call all of them as dumb terminal because there would be some terminals which are processing. So the one who's processing cannot be called as a dumb terminal. Dumb terminal is only when you only ask and get the data. There is no processing happening. Multiple site and processing and multiple site data is fully distributed database management system. And here what happens is the data may be present at multiple places, and even the processing can also will happen in multiple places. So here we can actually classify them into different kinds of databases. You may have homogeneous kind of distributed DB, or you can have heterogeneous. Homogeneous, the name itself is telling us it is a similar kind of data or the same kind of databases. Let us say that all of us are using RDBMS, and let us say all of us are using Oracle RDBMS. So all the three campuses would be using Oracle RDBMS. So that is homogeneous distributed databases. You'll understand it better when I contrast it with the other two. Homogeneous, I said Oracle RDBMS across all the campuses. What is heterogeneous databases? Heterogeneous DDBMS is we are using different kind of RDBMS. It could be Oracle or it could be MySQL, sorry. We'll be using MySQL or Oracle RDBMS. So here, what do you see in heterogeneous databases? You're using the similar kind of databases. It's just that the owning company is different. One is MySQL and the other is Oracle. But what is the nature of databases? It is RDBMS. And what do you understand by RDBMS? All the data is present in the form of a table. That is heterogeneous database distributed DBs. What is fully heterogeneous? Fully heterogeneous is you have totally the nature itself, the architecture of the database itself is totally different. That is, one place you may have Oracle RDBMS, you may, on the other place you may have object-oriented databases, the other place you may have something called temporal databases. So there are different kinds of databases that is present. So every data would be present in different nature. So when we try to extract those databases together and they are connected in a network through the distributed DB mechanism, then you say it is fully heterogeneous distributed DB. But yeah, it is very nice and flowery to speak about all these different kinds of distributed databases. But then we should understand the fact that there are no distributed databases which caters to such kind of requirement where there is fully heterogeneous distributed databases or heterogeneous distributed databases. Students, you may be learning, or I don't know if you've already learned data mining and data warehouse and data mining. Don't think that I'm trying to contradict what is there in data warehouse and databases. There is a difference between data warehouse. See, in data warehouse, you'll definitely have one statement saying that heterogeneous databases are transformed into a single type. That is very much relevant. That is the predominantly, present in data warehouse. But then what is it? How is it different from databases? Understand that data warehouse is a data storage where we do not do a day-to-day basis of transactions. Data warehouse, you'll have heterogeneous databases, for sure you'll have it. And we'll try to extract the data for some analysis purpose. But at the same time, we are not going to, extract data on a day-to-day basis. No, we are not going to do that. But in case of a databases, data warehouse is for analysis. Databases means you're doing a day-to-day transactions. Today I may ask, I may ask today some data, tomorrow or the same day, after 1 hour, I may ask again another data. So on a day-to-day basis, whenever a transaction happens, you call that as databases. Otherwise, it becomes data warehouse. The magnitude of data will also differ, and the way the it processes the data will also be different. So tomorrow or any time later point in time, you read a statement that heterogeneous databases are converted to a single form. Understand that they are talking about data warehouse. They are not talking about databases. Okay, so fully heterogeneous databases, they're not very well catered yet. Are you all following, students, what I'm talking? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, heterogeneous databases, just a schematic representation. You have different platforms, different kind of databases, different kind of operating systems, different kind of network protocols. It's totally different. So all different kinds of databases may gather together to form a heterogeneous distributed system. So this is something, as I said, practically not very much present. Predominantly, it is not present. Theoretically, they do speak about, or they do propose about such a system, because I mean, days will not be far when we have to cater to such kind of mechanism also. We'll see. So that was regarding the data being present at one place or multiple places, processing being happening at one place or multiple places. Okay. Next, coming to the transparency features. Now, transparency features, again, there are 5 different kinds of transparency features. There is something called distribution transparency, transaction transparency, failure, performance, and heterogeneity transparency. The first one is distribution transparency. One second. Yeah, distribution transparency. Now, the distribution transparency, what it says is the user will not come to know where exactly the data is coming from. See, which means that I write a query. After I write the query, I will not be bothered, or rather, I will not be knowing from where the data is coming. There would be 10 workstations present in a network. When I write the query, I am at workstation 7. So I write a query. I am not wondering here. I'm not talking about the single site or multiple site data or processing. I'm only talking about workstation per se. OK, so I'm in workstation 7. I write a query and I get the data. Where do I get it? How is it processed? That's none of my interest. That's none of my consideration. I just get the data. This is called distribution transparency. See, it may be it may sound like, when you say transparency, it actually, even I was a little wondering why the term transparency is given. Transparency means you should actually know, but apparently that is not how it is. They talk about the transparency is not being known to the user. So distribution transparency, the distribution of the data is basically not transparent. I do not, if I'm the user, I do not know from where the data is coming, where is it located. Can I directly go to that particular location and fetch the data? No, that is not there in distribution transparency. That's one of the features that could be included. These are the different kind of features that can be included. Okay, then transaction transparency is the transaction, across the network. It is getting, that the distributed databases is present across, it is spread across a network. So what transaction happens at which places, that is also not known. The transaction may happen at multiple sites. So that is not known to the person. They are present in different places. Where exactly the transaction is happening, where exactly the processing is happening, that will not be known by the end user. Failure transparency. This when I speak about this, you may try to relate to your computer networks. Now here we have learned that you very well know by now that what happens if you have a single site data and single site processing. You have told me, I remember asking you a question, what could be the disadvantage of having a centralized system or a single site data and single site processing? I remember, I think it was Vishnu or somebody who told us that the single point failure, that is one of the drawback. And I think even Priyadarshan was answering about that. So there is a single point failure. In case the single point fails, we are losing out the data, the processing is also gone, which means that the entire process or whatever action is in process or whatever transaction is happening currently, that will get frozen. Okay, you cannot do any action. So that is that is what happens in a single site and single processing system. So in failure transparency, what they say is, in case one system fails, in case a single node fails, and let me tell you, this does not happen in a single site and single site data and single site processing. I repeat what I said. Failure transparency cannot be supported in a single site data, single site processing. This can happen in other cases where, in case this one node fails to perform, because we have data replicated in multiple nodes, the other node will take up the functionality and it performs the job it is expected to do. So this is what happens in a failure transparency. This is a feature that is expected to be present in a distributed DB. Now coming to performance transparency. In performance transparency, see, one of the other advantages of having a distributed database is that you can have any number of sites getting connected to the distributed distributed DB network. So in such situations also, the performance will not degrade. There is no degradation of the performance across the network. So this is the performance transparency. It doesn't really worry about the differences in the network. So it doesn't degrade the performances basically. Okay, this is performance transparency. Then the last one is heterogeneity transparency. In heterogeneity transparency, what it says is, it allows any different kinds of schemas together. So in case you have a Oracle, this is not fully heterogeneous. You remember the three different kinds, right? There is homogeneous, heterogeneous, and fully heterogeneous. In heterogeneous, what they say is you'll have the similar kind of architecture, that is RDBMS. So in case I have RDBMS, it could be Oracle or it could be MySQL, anything. So I will get the data from multiple places. So again, when I'm fetching the data, now say I just now spoke about the Amrita Vidyalayam trying to gather data from multiple sites. So let us assume that all the HR policies are present in one place, but the salary computation is happening at the other place. So for HR policies, probably they're storing the data in MySQL. And for computing the salary, they are using Oracle. So for computing, I'm supposed to know the policies also. So there is an interaction between MySQL and there is interaction between the Oracle. So I have only asking for the data. I'm not bothered who is interacting with what, how are they interacting. That's none of my, botheration rather, if I have to put it in a layman's term. So that is heterogeneity transparency. So these are the features, or these are the different kinds of transparencies that is present in a distributed databases. Besides that, there is also a transparency that is associated with the distribution also. So there are three different kinds of distributions. There is local mapping transparency, location transparency, and fragmentation transparency. Now here what happens is you have to, at this point, think about data dictionary. Can somebody tell me what is a data dictionary of RDBMS? Somebody tell me what is a distributed, this data dictionary, DD?
It basically has the metadata about the database.
Good. And what do you mean by a metadata? What do you mean by
basically what kind of data has to be stored and all the conditions and all those.
Yeah, what kind of data is stored, what are the allowed values, what is the size, in case you have any constraints associated, all the information regarding the data that you're going to store. That's exactly what DDD also means, distributed. Now it is no more data dictionary, it is rather distributed data dictionary. So what is so special, or what is new in this distributed database, distributed data dictionary, besides what is there in this data dictionary? The extra thing in a distributed data dictionary is that we should understand that whenever we talk about distributed databases, the entire table may either be split vertically or it may be present, it may be split horizontally. If I have 1,000 records with me and we have 3 campuses, probably the data is present in only two campuses. So 500 rows would be present in one place, the other 500 may be present in the second campus. So this is one way of distribution, or fragmenting rather. Or another way is that I have 1,000 rows and let us say 10 columns. So all the 1,000 rows with 5 columns will be in one campus. 5 columns with rest, the 1,000 rows with rest 5 columns would be present in another campus. So which means that we have fragmented the entire databases into vertically we have fragmented, and it is present in 2 different places. So this is but where exactly what data is present, or which fragment is present in which station, that is also being stored in a data dictionary, which is not present in an RDBMS, right? It's only in the distributed databases that we have to even store about the fragments, which fragment is present in which station. That is required. Why? We'll get to know now. Okay. So that's regarding the distributed data dictionary. Distributed data dictionary is present at every workstation, especially whenever you have a multiple site data, multiple site processing unit. So why do we have this fragment information there? That is because we again have 3 levels of transparency. I'll start off with the lowest one, which is called the local mapping transparency. What happens here? Here, whenever I write a query, I will write from which specific location do I want the data, which fragment I want. I may be, dividing my employee table into E1 and E2. I know that E1 data is present in Bangalore campus. Okay, E2 is present in Coimbatore campus. You must be bugged with my Amrita's example, isn't it? Always. Anyways, bear with me now. Let us come in a flow. So let me complete this. Next class, I would take some other example. Okay, so here in the local mapping transparency, I have an employee's data which is present in two different places. One is in Itimadai and the other is in Bangalore. So Itimadai will have E1 fragment, E2 will be present in Bangalore. So I have two informations here. One is that E1 and E2. What are E1 and E2? E1 and E2 are two fragments of the entire table. E1 and E2. That is one information regarding the fragment. What is the second information? The location. What is that location? That location is the identification that I give to the workstation, regarding where exactly the data is present. Some geographical location. Fragment is which fragment of the table is present. So two information. One is the fragment of the table, and second is the location. Geographically, which location am I talking about? Okay, so these two information has to be written when the query is executed. And one more thing, understand one more thing, students. So here, when I say the query is executing, understand that I, as an end user, will not be executing the query. This is the example which I remember telling you in your 5th semester. You go to Aishwarya stores and there people are, in the billing counter, the person is using a DBMS application. So when a person in the billing counter is using a DB application, he's not writing a query, isn't it? He's not writing the moment you get an item, he's not going to write select star, select price from item where item code is equal to this. No, he's not writing a code. He's only using a barcode scanner. He gets the item code there. He gets the price there. He just enters the quantity and he gets it. So what is happening beneath? Beneath whatever text box he's entering the number, you have already done your DB application. Whatever you enter in the text boxes, that will be acting as a value for your attributes for the query that is running beneath. So same thing happens even here. So when I write a query, I come to know, there is a query which is running behind, which will get to know which fragment it is, which location it is, and accordingly it will fetch the data. This is local mapping transparency. In a location transparency, only the fragment name is required. Location is not required. You just have to know which fragment of the table you have to fetch the data from. And the last one, you need not know anything. You just have to write a simple query. I think there is an example here. The same thing is put in a table form. Okay. Local mapping, fragment name should be known, local name should be known, and transparency is low. Location transparency, fragment name is known, location name need not be mentioned. The transparency level is medium. Fragmentation transparency, the fragment name is not known, location name is also not known, and the level of transparency is high. So here, what happens is, this example, I want you to remember, we have a distributed system where we have 3 workstations, and all 3 workstations are sharing the fragment of one single table. Let us assume that it is employee. E1 fragment is present in one place, E2 in second place, E3 in the third place. And where are those locations? It's New York, Atlanta, and Miami. Okay, so these are the 3 things. So how do I write the queries based on the transparencies? We'll start off with the local mapping. Okay, you can see at the last one, select star from. You just have to concentrate here. What does it say? It says select star from. Second, let me change the color. Okay, I've made it just blue. You can see select star from E1. What is E1? It's a fragment. What is node? Node is the geographical location. Okay, node NY. NY is for New York, where whatever the condition is, union, select star from E2, node Atlanta, union, select star from E3. E3 is your fragment, node Miami. So you can see that this is local mapping transparency, where both fragment information and the location information had to be written in your from clause. A level higher transparency is location transparency, where I do not give the location. So you can see that it is just writing from E1. So which fragment I'm supposed to write. So that is more than enough. And in the last case, I will be writing from which table I require, which fragment, nothing is known here. This is the highest level of transparency. I just have to write these queries, just like how we write our RDBMS queries. In the lab session, I will see if I can hold the lab on Monday or Tuesday for whatever we've missed yesterday. So in that lab, we will do this, okay, how this transparency would be demonstrated, and you can also execute them and see. So these are the 3 levels of transparency. So I think I plan to do so much for today's class. So is this clear, students, whatever is discussed in today's session?
Ma'am,
Yes.
in the location transparency and local mapping, is it like in the node even only the table employee will be present? Because unlike fragmentation transparency, we have just mentioned the fragment, like we have not mentioned about employee. That is the
So your question is basically whether these fragment numbers are unique. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they are unique. That's a good question. Yes, they are unique.
Okay.
They are unique.
Also, ma'am, you said about transaction processing workstation and then a dump station, no, ma'am. Why there are like separate things? Because initially when you were mentioning about a data processing workstation and transaction, I thought a transaction will be the same as dump processing, because anyway data is there, no, ma'am. We can just take and process. Is it like cache?
Yeah, I understood what you're trying to say. Your question is why at all do we have a dump terminal? Why can't the processing happen at that workstation, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
See, to answer this question, the very simple example I would take is that of our cafeteria. See, I did tell you that in a distributed database system, it is not necessary that all the workstations has to be a computer, right? So our Kishan Bhai here, he operates one machine, isn't it? I don't know. I remember telling you it's called POS. It's called point of sales. Yeah, in point of sales, you remember there is a machine that Kishan to bill. You remember? He says, okay, you order for noodles. So he noodles code is 21. He types 21 and he bills it. So that is a part of a distributed system. So here, so that machine, what Kishan is using is the canteen person is using is not a processing workstation. It is a dump terminal. There may be situations or there may be scenarios in a real-time world where you do not want to give the processing provision to certain workstations. So that's the reason why we have this kind of architecture. Do you understand, Priya? Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
No, you don't seem to be convinced. See,
No,
canteen,
ma'am.
that was the best example that both of us can relate to.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was like, anyway, that. So, like, ma'am, even for the transaction processing workstation, the data will be fetched, no, ma'am. Like, why at all we are retrieving the whole table? Like, we can just get the query from the one center and then use the data from there, no, ma'am. Like, we are maintaining a copy again, and then.
Yes, I understood. When we talking about distributed systems, we should understand the fact that we are talking about a huge magnitude of data. See, first of all, the workstation is having a load of storing the data. When I say storing the data, it's just not randomly going and storing itself. It has its own mechanism to store itself in different, locations and things like that. So it has a big responsibility. One particular station would have a big responsibility of storing the data. And when we store the data, there is also a requirement of maintaining those data storage, whatever the database administrator has to do. See, when we say we are storing the data, it is just not like a go down, you go dump the data. The proper management of the data has to be done. When I say management, we should see to it that it has enough storage. We should see to it that whenever a requirement comes, it should process the data, it should give the whatever table is required. So that kind of overhead or that kind of complex processing is also already happening. Over that, if we put that workstation with more load of even processing the data, that is too much of a load. It is not that it is not present. See, single site data, single site processing is already existing, isn't it? That is already there.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
why?
Yes.
Yeah, but why did we come for another, kind of another mechanism? The other mechanism came into picture because uh, we saw that the single site itself was doing both the cases. It was maintaining the data maintenance was one of the job. Over that, the further processing also had to be taken care by those workstations. That was too much of a load on one particular site. And when we are talking about these distributed systems, don't think about all these databases. Think about databases which are really huge. See, the very fact that you have a distributed database is that we have data across multiple places. When we have multiple places, it is obvious that you have huge data.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We will be just retrieving a table and then processing in the
Yes.
transaction processing terminal.
Site. Correct.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Processing
ma'am.
site. Yes.
And also, ma'am, you were mentioning about the transparency features, no, ma'am. There we had something like failure transparency.
Yes.
Can you go back to the slide?
Yes.
Can you go one more slide back? There
Yes.
is. Here it is written like allow end user to feel like database only user. Like user feels like they're working with a centralized database.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. So then when we come in the failure transparency, that's just not possible. Like failure transparency make us feel that it is distributed because can you go back to the next slide? This one. This cannot take place in the single site, no, ma'am. It cannot be centralized.
That's true.
Yes,
But
ma'am. Yes,
here,
ma'am.
the user is not going to come to know if the user is working in the environment of single site single site data and single site processing. I am the user. If my single site fails, the only information that I get is I cannot process my transaction further. That's all. The job is ended there. That's the end of the transaction. But at the same time, had it been single site, multiple site, multiple processing, in such situations, what happens is, in case there is a failure at one site, there would be other site which has a replication of the same data. So, or they help take the backup and they will get back to the working state. So, but I, as an end user, I wouldn't know that a system has failed, a node has failed, or a workstation has failed and somebody else is taken over. No, I'm not going to get to know about that. That is failure transparency.
Oh, okay, ma'am. So it does not make us realize that there are multiple nodes and something like this is happening. I thought in the centralized database, whenever we are some node, like whenever there is some failure happens, we will immediately everything gets like there will be a failure, no, ma'am. So that cannot make
only single site, single process. I got it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
This
ma'am.
is like your context switching in operating system. See, we have multiple things happening, isn't it? We type the document and we listen to the music, isn't it? There it's
Yes,
not,
ma'am.
here we're
Yes,
not
ma'am.
talking about failure. But we know, since we know operating system, we know that there's some kind of context switching happening, and it is happening in such a quick manner that we do not know that at one particular point of time, only one thing is getting processed. But the switching happens so fast that we feel that there are two things, two different modules are taking care of two different things, isn't it? Right?
Okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So it's more or less the same thing.
Okay,
Ma'am,
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes.
But we have given the processing power to just one node, right? What if
Correct.
that node fails? Like,
Processing fail. In that case, you will have to see this failure transparency can be supported mainly in a fully distributed systems only. When you have a single site of data and single site of processing, Whenever you have a single site data or single site processing or both of them together, in that case, you cannot achieve failure transparency. This is achievable only in a fully distributed database systems. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one question to ask. I mean, it's not to do with the subject, but I wonder why the class strength is so bad. Why the class strength is still so less? 76, where is 76 and where is 40? Why is this happening? Is it the same case even in the other subjects? First week, I understand. This is the second week. Why is this happening? Is it the same in the other subjects also? You can tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it's the
Yes,
same.
ma'am. Like even the placement exams are going on, and even today some interviews were going on. Like some company called EY.
Okay.
So few are attending, few are preparing. So
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. Anything else, students? So, shall we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Bye bye.